hear us okay? So most of the service of Slichot, again, and depending on where you're doing it in the world, it can be a very different service. In many cases, go on for hours. In many environments, it really goes on from nightfall to the next morning. It's a very intense kind of experience. We obviously here, for lots of reasons, do not have that experience. So it's a condensed one. This actually was created by then student cantor Amanda Kleinman, who we had back this past summer. And it was built off of what was then a prototype of the Mishkan HaNefesh that we now use. So as you can see, the quality of the Xerox will be improved by next year for sure. But it contains, basically a number of readings, a number of piyutim, and in particular, the recitation of the 13 attributes of God, which you will hear as a familiar refrain as we move throughout the holidays. So any parts in which you're familiar, definitely sing. Some of the piyutim I've taught over the years. The last one that we do actually was when the first slichot that I led here with my brother, because I had no idea what I was doing, and so I called him in desperation. And he came and he taught this really amazing piece that we oftentimes don't get to in the main service. So it's really oftentimes the only time that we get to it. I'll explain it a little bit when we get there. But we'll begin just by a little bit of singing on the first page. At the very top, Esayinai. This is a psalm that is traditionally said, especially in the month of Elul and leading up to the high holidays itself, and in which we say, right, we lift up our eyes to the mountains and we are asking the fundamental question, where is our help going to come from? And our help comes ultimately from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. Fundamental reminder that when we are most in search, especially in this period of time, which we are searching for one of the hardest things to find, which is forgiveness, right, that we can look in whatever direction the mountains may be, maybe not so much in Sag Harbor, right, but the mountains of our minds. So you can sing along with me if you know. Esahenai el harim me'ayin yavo hezri. Esahenai el harim me'ayin yavo ezri. Ezri me'ihim Adonai Oseh shamayim va'aretz. Ezri me'ihim Adonai Oseh shamayim va'aretz. And the opening part and the closing part of Ashrei is just below. Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yehalelucha Od Yehalelucha Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yehalelucha Od Yehalelucha Selam Ashrei shekachalo Ashrei sh'Adonai Elohav Tilat Adonai yedaber pi v'yivrech kol basar shem kodsho le'olam va'ed v'anachnu nevarech ya me'ata be'ad olam Hallelujah. So we turn now to page 2 for the Chatzi Kaddish. This is a very different melody, as you'll hear. It's very much a High Holidays melody, one that I hope that I remember very well. So we will see. So we'll rise again, page 2. Yitkadal V'yitkadash Shemeir haba Be'alma divrach kiruteh Ve'yamlich malchuteh Bechayechon uvyomechon Uvechayei dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'himeru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach, le'ahalam le'hal me'ahal mahayam, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, ve'yitpa'ar, ve'yitromaham, ve'yitnaseh, ve'yitahadar, ve'yitahalem, ve'yitalahal shemei dekucha berichu. Le'elaha u'le'elaha mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damirhan be'alma, ve'imeru. Amen. I probably should have just made clear that's the Chatzi Kaddish, not the Mourner's Kaddish, just in case there was any confusion there. Don't want to confuse, especially on that level. So let's be seated. We're going to turn now to page 3. Page 3, we're going to read together in English at the top of the page, and then we'll get to our first piyut in the recitation of the 13 attributes, which will be at the bottom of the page. So let's read together in the top of page 3. God of forgiveness, we come before you in need of compassion. At Sinai, you spoke words that guide our lives to this day. But our ancestors lost faith in you, lost hope in their Redeemer. With one voice, they had promised, "We will do and obey." And yet, stiff-necked, they broke their word, adoring an idol of gold. How wondrous your compassion in the face of their rebellion, your forgiveness in that moment of human weakness and doubt. We too have broken promises to you. We too worship the work of our own hands. We too make of gold a god, and we too forsake your word. At Sinai, you revealed 13 attributes of mercy. These aspects of your nature, your very essence, we now recall. El melech yoshev al kiseh rachamim, mitnaheg b'chasidut. Mohel abanot amo, mavhir rishon rishon. Marbe mechila lechataim, uslicha lefosheim. Ose tzedakot im kol basar veruach, lo charatam tigmol. El horeta lana lomar shlosh esrei, zachor lanu hayahom berit shlosh esrei. Kemo shehodata lanu mikedem, kemo shekatuv. Vayirad Adonai be'anan, vayityatzev imo sham. Vayikra b'shem Adonai, vayavor Adonai parav, vayikra. We join together at the bottom of 3. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed lahalafim, Nosei Ahavon v'Afesha, v'Chata v'Nahaker. We'll turn now to page 4, and we'll read together, again, beginning at the top of the page in English, with a little bit of Hebrew. In all your ways be aware of God, for there is no sovereign without a people. Ein melech belo am. We are the chariot on which God's glory rides, for there is no sovereign without a people. Let the love of God be spread through our deeds, for there is no sovereign without a people. You are my servant, Israel. I will be glorified through you, for there is no sovereign without a people. Where is God? Anywhere we let God in, for there is no sovereign without a people. Ein melech belo am. Eternal God, you revealed to Moses your 13 attributes of mercy. They exist in the world through our awareness. They transform the world through our actions. We speak them now as prayer and aspiration. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Vechanun, Erech Apayim, Berav Chesed V'emet, Notzer Chesed Lahalafim, Noseh Havon V'Afesha, V'Chata V'Nahakem. So if you're curious about this phrase, Ein Melech B'lo Am, it's, on the one hand, it's self-evident, right? There is no such thing as a sovereign without a people. But if you look a little bit lower, it's one of the great things about our Machzor, thanks again to our Rabbi Emeritus, his hard work, that this is in essence really is a commentary, right? Many, many generations later on, a line of the Torah and Genesis, right? But this one commentary really reminds us that on the one hand, a lot of our liturgy around the holidays is bordering on the lines of self-flagellation, right? We start to make ourselves feel so bad that we actually run a danger of going too far in that direction. And we start to feel like we are these groveling things at the feet of the kings or the queens. And the answer to that, of course, is that there is a certain element of that, and there's a certain appropriateness to that. But there is, as I said, a danger of starting to get into that mindset so completely. So we remind ourselves in this statement, Ein Melech B'lo Am, right? That in the end, even God, the greatest of the great, needs us in some capacity or another. And that, in the end, is really Heschel's sort of theology, right? God in search of man is a really radical statement when you think about it, right? That whole idea that we matter in this equation, I think we sometimes get lost in that. And I think this is one of those moments in which, forgiveness is a tough road to seek, for sure. It's serious, it takes serious work. But if we beat ourselves up along the way as well, it's very hard to do that work. If we can't also have a certain amount of understanding that we have value in this equation, we're not just supplicants, we're also, right, important parts of the team, as it were. So we'll turn now to page number 5, and our last of the 13 attributes. Lu echzeh fanav belibi vaita. If I could see God's face within my heart, I'd see the face of a gardener, compassionate to weed and flower alike, patiently pruning, graciously planting, loving the endless hours of tending and nurturing the earth, seeds, roots, all that grows. And true to the essence of the gardener's work, forgiving the fallen branches, the withered petals, the cracked stones, the broken stems. Lu echsa panav belibi vaita. I'd see the human face in 1,000 acts of mercy, the one who gives bread to the hungry and shelters the lost, who hears the voice of grief and makes room for the stranger, who brings relief to the blind, the bent, the unjustly imprisoned, and is true to the essence of holy work, defying evil, healing brokenness, easing pain, and in the end, forgiving ourselves as God forgives us. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum Vechanun, Erech Apayim, Verav Chesed V'emet, Notzer Chesed Lahalafim, Noseh Havon V'Afesha, V'Chata V'Nahakem. We'll turn now to page 6, Shema Kolini. Shema Koleinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, v'kabel berachamim, u'veratzon et tefilatenu. Hashivenu Adonai elecha, v'nashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Kekedem. At the bottom of the page, there's a beautiful melody that was taught first by Basia Schachter, who's now, I think, the music director of Romamu in New York City. And it was that time when she was at B'nai Jeshurun when I was a kid. So I'll sing the opening nigun piece of it, and you can sing along with that as you pick it up. Ahai, lai, 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 lai. Ahai, lai, 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 lai. Ahai, lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Al tashlichenu milfanecha beruach kodshecha al tikach mimenu. Al tashlichenu letzikna Kichlot kochenu al tazvenu Ein al tazvenu Adonai Eloheinu al tirchak mimenu. So I invite us now to rise as we turn to page 7, and we'll read together in English at the very top of the page, and then our first vidui of this high holiday season. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, we do not say to you in arrogance and stubbornness, we are blameless and do no wrong. In truth, we and our forebears have stumbled. We have fallen. Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu, Dofim, Ebinu, Behir Shanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu, Shaker, Yatsnura, Kizahavnu, Latsnu, Maradnu, Niyatsnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Tsaranu, Kishinu, Oref, Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiabnu, Ta'inu, Titanu. Okay, you could be seated. So this last piyut, as I said on page 8, I don't expect any of you are going to be able to sing the Hebrew part of it with me, but as you'll see it in the Hebrew, all right, there's a line and then the words Hu Ya'anenu. Okay, so each of these is basically a moment in the history of our ancestors in which one of our ancestors, or a few of them, were having some kind of trouble, and they went to God in search of help, and God anenu, right? God answered that particular call. So it goes like this, you'll start to see as it kind of picks up, and you can do the Hu Ya'anenu part for sure, okay? So it goes like this. Mishe'anaha lesara imeinu beziknata Hu Ya'anenu. Good. Mishe'anaha le'Avraham Avinu behar haMoriah Hu Ya'anenu. Good. Mishe'anaha le'Yitzchak ben Amshenekad al gabei haMizbeach Hu Ya'anenu. Mishe'anaha le'Rivka be'Heryonah Hu Ya'anenu. Mishe'anaha le'Yakov בבית אל הוא יעננו משענה ללאה בעניה הוא יעננו משענה לרחל בעצבונה הוא יעננו משענה ליוסף בבית האסורים הוא יעננו משענה למילדות העבריות על האבנים הוא יעננו משענה ליוכבד על שפת היוהר הוא יעננו משענה לאבותינו ולאמותינו על ים סוף הוא יעננו משענה למשה בחורב הוא יעננו משענה למרים בעברה הוא יעננו משענה לאהרון ממחתה הוא יעננו משענה לבנות צלופחד בהמדן פתח אוהל מועד הוא יעננו משענה לאליהו בכל דממה דקה במדבר הוא יעננו יאללה לה לה יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה 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 הוא יעננו יאללה לה לה יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה 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 הוא יעננו. I was just going to say, so you can see on the back pages where it tells you a little bit about each of the instances. It's just very hard to read it. But it is not all encompassing, but certainly a number of things. And might surprise you again that a number of the people who are mentioned are women. And not just women, right? Stories that we have become more and more familiar with, like Benot Tzlofchad, right, in particular. So it is, and as you can hear in the melody, this particular melody is definitely not an Ashkenazi melody. I think it's Moroccan, if I remember correctly, but it definitely has more of a Sephardi background to it. I think I just sung it as an Ashkenazi, but that's, something I can't really get out of in that way. So we're going to conclude our Slichot service with a Chad Sha'alti, and then, as I said, we'll offer the Mourner's Kaddish as a last moment. But I hope that this service, as brief as it may be, gives us a bit of a springboard into this really very sacred time, and I appreciate all of you being here, especially those that were through the whole movie. It's longer than you'll be here for the holidays, actually, for any particular service. All right, so at the bottom of the page. אחד שאלתי מאת אדוני אותה אבקש אחד שאלתי מאת אדוני אותה אבקש שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בחלום לחזות בנועם אדוני ולבקר בחלום. So if I can ask everyone now to rise, and we'll just go back to our Sidurim, to our prayer books, to page 598, and we will give an opportunity for the Kaddish. And thank you, everybody, again, for helping to make that mitzvah happen, too. That is always something very appreciated. But, would you tell me your mom's name? So, in her memory. And page 598, do you feel comfortable leading it on your own, or I can lead it with you? Amen. Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevarach La'alam Ulialmei Almaya. Barichu. Amen. 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 Zichrona livracha, may her memory be for a blessing. Well, thank you everyone again for being here, and I apologize that I'm going to have to skedaddle quickly. I think between one sleeping child